Hey there, this is the College Investor Audio Show. We are truly honored that you chose to spend your time with us today as we talk about the 10 biggest FAFSA mistakes and how you can avoid them. Before we get into it, just hit the subscribe button. Just want to remind you of that. That way you're always up to date when we post new content. You can also share this with anybody you like. That would be hugely helpful to us as well. Follow us on social media. We're pretty much everywhere you are. Just search for the College Investor and you'll find us. We can help you along in your money journey. All aspects of money, investing, college admissions, side hustles, everything. Would love to get to know you better too. And thecollegeinvestor.com is where you can go, kind of a one-stop shop, a hub, if you will, for all things investing and lots of tips and tricks on all kinds of cool stuff. Thecollegeinvestor.com is where you need to go. All right, let's get into it. 10 biggest FAFSA mistakes. All right, so first off, the FAFSA, or Free Application for Federal Student Aid, is required for students who want help paying for college. Who doesn't? The application is managed by the Department of Education, and it helps federal, state, and college-level programs allocate financial aid. This includes all things like grants, federal work study, eligibility to qualify for student loans, etc. So how much aid a student receives depends on a number of things, including their personal finances. Because a lot of students, college students, receive support from their parents, the entire family's financial situation is taken into account as part of the application process as well. So filling out the FAFSA correctly is so important if you're expecting to receive financial aid to help pay for college. Small errors, like tiny ones, can impact how much you receive or whether or not you receive financial aid at all. So these are the 10 biggest FAFSA mistakes you're going to want to make sure you avoid. First up, not following instructions. Kind of a no-brainer. Every section of the FAFSA comes with specific questions that need to be filled out correctly. If you kind of skim through these too quickly or you're not reading the instructions in every section, this can lead to errors, and those errors can lead to big problems. If there's something you don't understand, just read through the FAFSA website, or you can even contact your school's financial aid office, and they'll help you through it. Missing an important deadline. To receive aid, you need to submit your complete application by the deadline. If you're planning on starting school in fall 2025, the FAFSA is expected to be available around December 1st, 2024. Plenty of time to do this. In the past, it's been due by June 30th. You have like 6 months. However, recent changes at the Department of Education have put the entire application process in flux. So kind of try to submit your application ASAP just to be safe. Individual states might have separate deadlines as well. In Texas, just a quick example, students need to fill out and submit a FAFSA application by January 15th to qualify for state-level aid. Know what all the deadlines are, and then just aim to complete your application before it's due. Don't wait until the last minute. Just because you got a ton of time, several months to complete the FAFSA, doesn't mean you should wait till the last minute. Start kicking those old habits and start some new habits, procrastinators. Funds are limited for all the different programs. If you wait too late, you could miss out on funding, even if you're eligible for it. So start gathering some important documents like tax returns and bank statements right now. That way, when the application period opens, you're ready to get started. Forgetting to fill something out is a huge mistake. There's a chance a question on the FAFSA might not apply to you. Well, instead of leaving it blank, just write 0. If you leave answers blank, your application might not even be processed fully. So before you get ready to submit, double-check to make sure you filled everything out correctly and you didn't accidentally leave something blank. We got a link to some best practices to follow when filling out your application, right inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. The number 5 mistake to avoid: misreporting your financial situation. The amount of financial aid you receive will largely be dependent on your financial situation. So it's important to report all of your income from your household, not just money you've been working an after-school job and making. Check your federal tax return, any W-2s you received, and if you've done work as an independent contractor, any 1099 forms you have. Just make sure everything matches and there aren't any mistakes. You'll need to include your parents' income too on your FAFSA, as well as the income any step-parents if your parents have divorced and remarried. You also need to include any untaxed income, including child support and disability. Another thing you're going to want to be mindful of is your status. Even if you're responsible for paying your own bills, you might still be considered a dependent or part of your parents' household. If you're unsure about that, you can check out a questionnaire link we have provided by studentaid.gov. You can find it at thecollegeinvestor.com. Number 6, not listing all the schools you're applying to. The FAFSA is used by individual colleges and universities to award need-based grants to students. If you don't list all of the schools you plan on applying to, they might not receive your application, and they won't be able to offer you an additional aid. You can add up to 10 schools to your list and then make changes later on. Some states require you to rank the schools you're applying to. If you rank a school incorrectly or forget to add it to your ranked list, you could miss out on state grants. That's not good. This applies to state schools, not private colleges. So if you plan to attend a state school, make sure to rank it at the top of your list. Failing to refile each year is mistake number 7. While the FAFSA is an important part of applying to college, a lot of students don't even realize the FAFSA's got to be filled out annually. This means your financial aid can change from year to year depending on your financial situation. But the good news is, once you've created login credentials and you're in the financial system, the renewal process is a whole lot shorter. When you reapply, you'll still want to make sure you fill out everything correctly and avoid making mistakes that could end up costing you an aid. Number 8 today, incorrectly setting up filing credentials. All right, before you begin filling out the FAFSA, you and your parents need to create a Federal Student Aid ID or an FSA ID. You're going to need the following information: your full name, social security number, and your date of birth. When you set up your account, you'll also be asked to create a username and password. Go ahead and keep that tucked away in a safe space. You're going to need to refer back to it when you reapply for aid in the future. To set up your FSA ID, it's all at studentaid.gov. Not filling out other applications to get financial aid. That's mistake number 9, and it's a big one. While the FAFSA is the main way to get financial aid, it isn't the only way to cover the cost of college. There are tons of scholarships and grants that have a separate process for applying for funding. Some states may also require a different application to qualify for state aid. I'm looking at you, Texas. So know what is and isn't covered by the FAFSA, and don't forget to fill out all the applications to get financial aid. Number 10, thinking you don't need to fill out the FAFSA at all. Arguably, the biggest mistake you can make is thinking that the FAFSA is irrelevant to you. Some students might think that financial aid is only for low-income students and they don't even bother filling it out. Others, like adults returning to college, might just assume that funding is reserved for undergrads. No! If you aren't in line to receive any aid, that's the surest way to ensure you won't receive it. Unfortunately, this is happening to more and more people and students. Even if you don't think you qualify, fill out the FAFSA just to be safe. And there you have it, our 10 biggest FAFSA mistakes that we hope you don't make. If you want to find out more, you can just check out the article right inside thecollegeinvestor.com. Just type in the words 10 FAFSA mistakes and you'll find it. All right, thanks again for stopping by today, and we'll talk to you again real soon.